after they get the mic, you know what I mean?
We'll transition, and we'll just transition with saying Jacki was saying the edgiest shit.
Edgiest, I like it.
It is edgy. It is edgy.
I'm very excited for today's conversation.
Okay. Do we have the spreadsheet? Is that where we're starting?
No. Aussie said that he sent us spreadsheets. We should probably. I almost kind of want to wait.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wait for him. So he's going to be here later. So then what, Jacki, were you referring to? What part of the conversation?
Just talking about what coins that we're going to do this paper trading on. So just a recap for everyone. This is obviously not financial advice, and paper trading means that this isn't like real investments that we're making or anything like that, but we are watching these things. Aussie's here. Good. So it's more for the sake of, I'm interested to do this with a group of people. I know you guys have all been a part of like DAOs and different projects where you're watching one thing specifically, or maybe you have been in like, circles where people are talking about their trades and things like that. Aside from being a part of a few DAOs, I haven't really been on the inside of like people that are actively trading. Like I'm way more on the blockchain side of things. So that's why I'm excited to do this now, especially publicly. I mean, I think these are a lot of conversations people need to hear. So.
Well, let's start at the top for what we're talking. Now that we have Ossikins here, who's going to give
Ossikins?
Ossikins.
That is
like Snookums, Ossikins.
Oh God, Grant, you're hurting me on the inside. It's like your message to me on LinkedIn yesterday of being all cute.
Oh no.
So okay, guys. So give us the overview of how we got to here and what is the setup. Somebody? I think
Aussie, you're muted.
Did you hit mute on your mic?
All right. Well, Aussie's muted. I'll speak. We got here because we've been talking about this actually for probably better part of a year. Tristan says Aussie poo. Yeah, Grant, just overall, I don't know if I like Florida cuddle names anymore. And so
Jarrett
my God. So we've been talking about this for a while, and we want to do something that the audience and the followers can all hop into, and they can basically see where we're going to start and then follow us through. We're still pre-halving. We're still at the end of 2023. It's a shock that today's November 1st. I don't know what happened to this year. It started off super slow in the last 6 months. The last 3 or 4 months have been just lightning fast. We have 2 months left to go. So it feels like a perfect time for us to put in bets on where we think certain coins are going to go. But as Jacki said, this is not financial advice. And because we're paper trading, we're literally not putting our money behind these coins. Most of the coins that I actually do have my money, but like I'm not going today to take this certain allocation. It's not breaking my DCA pattern or any other of the investment behaviors I have. So with that said, we'll probably say that throughout this episode. So no matter where you come in, you're not gonna be like, oh, not crypto, bro, still all my fiat. So Aussie, can you
oh, those damn crypto bros, all my life savings.
Aussie, whenever you're ready, can you cue us up?
We are making a cartoon in our future.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do all the voices for all 10,000 doodles. So.
Oh my gosh. I've got like at least 3,000.
God. Okay, so I'll tab one up. We will potentially make this spreadsheet available for all of you following us so that you can create your own little portfolio.
Aussie, can you zoom in or someone zoom in?
No, it's Aussie. He's got to zoom in. This is as big
I will
as
see if I can zoom in. I don't know. I cannot guarantee.
You know how many people just left? They saw Excel and they were like, well, I'm done.
I mean, Aussie, just zoom in on the document. So go up to view and you can like go up to 300.
View and increase. Come on now.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, look at those numbers.
Okay, give me a second. I'm like working on 4 screens right now, boys and girls. So this is ridiculous. Okay, this is our spreadsheet. It's actually super handy because we can pipe in live current prices right at any moment. I'll refresh this right now so that we are getting the most recent numbers from Bitcoin and Ethereum. I sent all of the crypto bros a tutorial of how to use this cool little spreadsheet in earlier today, so we can kind of walk through it. Our base portfolio that we wanted to allocate was 25%. We were going to do 50% Bitcoin and 50% ETH. I've got to make sure we're assuming with $1,000.
Yeah, we'll do $1,000.
So
this also looks way more complicated than I thought.
Me too.
It is. I mean, this is okay. Do you think this is complicated? You don't want to see this full spreadsheet.
No, I don't.
No, we definitely don't.
You definitely don't, because I have
a quick question. So
Yes.
where it says current price, are you manually typing that in, or do you have it pulling from somewhere?
This is pulling directly from CoinMarketCap.
CoinMarketCap.
So it will update the current price and the market cap of any token throughout the as we refresh. If I were to hit this refresh button in the top corner,
Did you program that?
I had a friend who did. And
there's just an API. CoinMarketCap has an open API, and Google Sheets ties to open APIs, and so it's handy dandy. I mean, it's fancy, but it's
handy
totally
dandy and fancy. All right.
Ossikins.
That's actually your Florida cuddle name, Jackie. Handy dandy and fancy. Handy dandy and fancy. All the way down from the northern parts.
Oh gosh.
So each of us will have our own spreadsheet. Once we finish this, that number will be set, and we won't change it. We'll have a fixed amount of Bitcoin, etc., that we hold times.
Yeah, because Aussie, I was thinking about doing 3 control investment groups. And by the way, if you're listening to this on Spotify or on Apple or any podcast platform that's audio only, please go ahead and find us on YouTube so you can see what we're actually doing.
Yeah,
it's going to be important. Yeah, today's a visual episode. And so I was thinking we do 3 controls. One's all Ethereum, one's Bitcoin, and one's half Bitcoin, half Ethereum, just so we could kind of see what it would look like for ETH maxis as they go throughout the next 2 years, Bitcoin maxis, and then people who I think a lot of people, when they do get into crypto, if they do ask me, and I do say not financial advice and get that tattooed on my forehead, I would say starting with a split of 50-50 ETH Bitcoin is not a bad thing to get your feet wet.
Absolutely. This is kind of, here's our 50-50 split. That would mean that currently there's you got 0.01 for Bitcoin if you were starting with $1,000, and just over a quarter of an ETH.
Got it.
From here, this number will update every episode, and whenever I hit refresh on the spreadsheet, and we'll see how the value of that increases over time. I will probably need to make a couple more of these for the different controls, but we can kind of use these numbers as a fixed, easy number that we can pull from as we wish throughout. So
cool. Fantastic.
Yeah, because what we could always do with the control, because the amount of Bitcoin and ETH from this control will never change. Its price and fiat will change. So we know that for the control, it would just be 0.028 Bitcoin and 0.546 whatever Ethereum or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you label ETC as DeFi and then ETH as layer 1?
This was actually just those labels came from my buddy. So Bitcoin is just, to me, Bitcoin is just Bitcoin, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
For everyone in the audience that is watching, this is a really fun thing about the spreadsheet is I can go to CoinMarketCap. Which of you wants to go first? I'm not going to go first.
With what?
With our picks.
Yeah, with your picks.
Looks like ladies should go first, Jackie.
Okay, Jackie's first.
My name is spelled wrong on this, first of all, but that's okay.
Wait, what?
I'm sorry, Jackie.
How do you spell Jackie's name wrong? Do you have an E at the end?
Yes, I have an E at the end.
Sheesh.
It's spelled Handy.
That should be like my anonymous handle moving forward. But okay, not to. I guess we'll gloss over that we're calling BTC and ETH different blockchain layers, but I find it weird to call BTC DeFi. I don't know.
Well, he
Yeah,
renamed it, didn't he?
Yeah, I
It's
did on
clearly-
mine.
Yeah, it's
But
clearly
then he
a remnant
renamed
from
it Bitcoin.
I mean, we could say currency, right? Utility is currency.
I feel like it's confusing to more people. Like
You want it to be a
Bitcoin
layer
and-
one? Do you want me to just label it layer one? Would that
I just
make
don't
you
even
happy,
think
Jack?
I don't even think we need the summary. I don't think we need half of these columns.
I like that. I like explaining to someone that I agree with this, like breaking it down like this is a stable coin, this is a layer 2 solution, this is a DeFi protocol. You know, I do think that's useful. I just wouldn't confuse people further. Like Bitcoin and Ethereum are both layer 1 blockchains.
How is Bitcoin a layer 1 blockchain?
Because it's a blockchain. It is literally the layer that everything's built on. If you're building anything on Bitcoin,
People do build on Bitcoin. It's not extremely popular for a lot of reasons, but it can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Jarrett, I know this is
Grant
more
hates it.
complicated than it needs to be, but
I mean,
do you
let's,
want to
you
see
know,
my hidden tabs? 'Cause
No. The
No one
viewers
wants to
definitely
see
don't
your
wanna
hidden
see
I
tabs.
love how we can't even get through this.
Well, we can't get through this because Aussie pulls up this thing and it's like the
How to build a
NASDAQ,
rocket.
and I want 4 columns.
Okay, yeah, I'll go.
You're not
first.
allowed to
You wanna
have
jump
4
in?
columns.
I know, clearly. I get 14.
What, Jackie? What are you saying?
I will start if we are ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
Grant's impatient.
So I took a good approach to this, I think, trying to make it useful to lots of different people. So the first token, so I'm doing $1,000 split between 5 coins. And let me just pull up my sheet here. Wrong computer. So the first one is Chainlink, Link, is I'm going to put. So I'm going to do 1,500 on Link. I'm making up the numbers in real time.
1,500.
If we're doing 1,000,
Oh, wait,
so
wait,
you're
we're
saying
doing
you need
1,000,
150.
My bad.
150.
Yes, 150.
Okay.
I have $1,000 and I have 5 coins.
The pressure's never been higher.
I could be boring and just do 200 each, but
You should
So
do
you said
199,
15%.
201.
okay, 200 on Link, 200 on the graph.
Okay.
300 on mana.
Ooh, girl. Okay, I'm changing my game. Even now, I'm changing my game.
Me too. I'm listening.
300 on die.
What?
Jackie, you know there's a total of 1,000 here.
Right. I think I just have 100 left, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
And
okay.
I'm going to
Just
do
wanna-
100 on Cosmos.
Oh.
Ooh.
You're putting 300 on die.
Which means it won't grow, Jack.
Yeah, that's a fixed. And
It's
then
a stable
10%.
coin. Just
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
be
Jackie,
clear.
that's a stable coin. We're
Right.
trying to grow bags here.
Well, I had a different approach. I wasn't
Oh,
necessarily totally.
Let her have it. I mean, she knows what she's
Let her.
doing.
That's fine. That's fine.
I went back and forth whether to have DAI on here. I thought it was important to have a stable coin that wasn't USDC or Tether, but
You raise a really interesting point, though, Jackie. Is this just so like everywhere you hold DAI, you get staked rewards just by holding it?
right.
So are we including growth by staking or only fixed
No.
growth?
Only
I probably
fixed growth,
shouldn't,
only
and
price
that's why-
only price.
Yeah, we're
growth.
only doing fixed growth because
Okay,
that's going to
okay.
get out of control.
I cannot.
But I like-
cheat that.
I like Jackie's idea, and what I thought when she chose DAI was she was so not confident in her other picks that she's like, "Well, if they all go to 0, at least I'll have $300."
It was part of including a stable coin. But you know what? Let's move on to everyone else, and I may revisit that DAI.
Okay.
I did have a backup,
fair.
and I went back and forth on it, so
That's
we'll
fair.
revisit
This
that.
this was strategic by Jacki. Jacki threw that in there, a stable coin in a growth portfolio, just so she can hear our picks and then choose the best pick that we have. I love it. She's playing 4D chess, and I love it.
4D chess.
I
Notice
will
did not
update
put
the rest of the
Solana.
spreadsheet with everyone's percentages after this
Sure.
because it's
Sure.
going. It's gonna be a bit of a pain in the butt right now because I got to pull these slugs.
All good.
So Grant, you're next. I've voted.
Sheesh.
Where's yours? What do you mean you voted?
Yeah, where's yours?
Mine.
Where's your secret ballot, Aussie?
Mine's there, and I haven't gotten to it yet. You guys can deal
Oh.
with it, okay?
Oh,
All right.
I'm having
Someone's got their
little-
pennies in a
No, a little
wallet to the
sassafras.
bank.
A little sassafras today. I think your cuddle name's sassafras.
Aussiekins, you being sassy for us?
Aussie sounds like he was waiting at the DMV for 3 hours and asked for the manager.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where are they? Because I
Ozzy
said
is
so.
about ready to. Yeah, Ozzy's not in a good mood today.
Aussie, I will say, I also had to go to the bank today, and every time I have to go to the bank, my blood boils. It just even being in there waiting in line, and then going up to the teller, and she's just putting barrels of fiat through the counter. I'm just like, oh god,
Dude, I've been dealing with the bank almost nonstop for this house for the last 3 days, and they keep asking for information in piecemeal fashion, and it's driving me up the wall. I've been on the phone with them for over 3 hours in the last 2 days. So yeah.
How long are we tracking this portfolio?
2 years, forever.
All right. I'm
I
ready.
like how that changes Grant's. If it's 3 weeks, he's got a whole different barrel.
Literally. Yeah. Here's my Pepe Jesus coin.
Oh, good Lord.
Let's do 200 on XRP,
Okay.
200 on ADA, $100 on Chainlink. Wait, I have to limit it to 5? Or just
Do
limit
whatever
it to
you
1,000?
want, Grant.
Jesus, okay.
No. There's got to be some kind of rules here.
There's no
The
rules.
rule's
We're-
1,000. I know the rule's 1,000, but
The
over
rule-
how many?
Ideally it was max 5.
Okay,
we can
got it.
change that because we
No.
make our own rules. But
Oh,
That's
Aussie's breaking these rules. There's no question. Aussie is
Aussie,
just
you
trying
have to choose 5. We all have to do the same thing.
Yes, same thing.
That's the
Same
whole
thing.
point. It's not like Aussie gets like a 20-yard head start.
Okay.
How does Aussie get a 20-yard head start? I'm not.
Wait.
I'm not getting a 20-yard head start.
I like how Jacki
Okay.
just left. She's
Yeah.
like, these guys are just degens. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
I'm going to put, so I've got, hold on. This isn't mine. I see ADA, XRP, and Link.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, 200. Okay. But I've spent 500.
You've spent $500.
Okay. I want 250 on Stellar.
Oh
nice. I like that,
goodness.
Grant.
Okay. XLM.
Mm-hmm.
You said you want 300?
250.
Oh, 250. Okay.
Then I want 100 on Polygon.
Should I put Pole or
I'm
Matic?
sorry. I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm sorry. I have to limit it to 5, and I've already got 4. Let's do my last one. Is a total crapshoot.
It's got to be.
I have no reason for this one, so get rid of Matic. I apologize, and replace it with VeChain.
Oh,
Boy, it's my
that. That's right. Right.
250.
Grant, I like where your head's at.
Boom. That's a total crapshoot. But if you notice, nearly all of mine are under 50 cents.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
mean,
psychological thing there for newbies.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna have to see if this will update properly. We'll see. We'll see if this. I think that Chainlink is Chainlink. Stellar. And VeChain. Let's see if my good old spreadsheet will do its thing. No, it's getting mad at me because we're streaming, obviously. Cool. Okay. So, Jarrett, I got to pull up yours. Here we go.
Great. You ready? Or
I'm
just tell me
ready.
when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you can leave those. You can leave file there. So we're doing 30% in Bitcoin.
Okay.
Did you already have that?
Yeah, I actually already had 30% Bitcoin.
God, I was like, how could you possibly see? I just came up with this. 25% in VeChain, just like Grant.
Okay.
25% in Solana. And then 10% in File, which is
Literally what I have written for you.
And then 10% in HBAR.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Got to get the ISO 20022 exposure, which Grant did a great job of.
Okay, cool. You guys, you are all set. I have you guys all set up. Oz's profile. Oz actually needs to pull up his phone because I can't have 4 spreadsheets open at once. That would be a nightmare. You guys know what? I didn't actually pick everything
What?
off the top because I was not going to follow your rules. But I'm going to go with OP optimism with 30%.
That's nice.
Wow.
I'm gonna go Matic with 15%. So I'm at 45. According to your guys' rules, we'll see if I follow your rules. I'm not sure.
Also, you got to follow the rules. That's how this works.
There's no such thing as following the rules.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. We're trying to all just do 5 coins and $1,000. If you choose 10 coins, it throws it off.
No, I'm only spending $1,000. That's
Yeah, but the idea is we should all have the exact same starting point.
we do have the same starting point in terms of dollar value.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, and you're going to be annoying. So I'll let you handle it.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm gonna go, yeah, okay. You're forcing my hand a little bit. Akash, which you guys have probably no clue what it is. 60. That's another. I need to spend 40%. Okay, I'm gonna change some of these percentages probably. And then let's do this.
I like that you're bringing in some good ones. Render's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll probably go because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
So
I've got 20, 35, 45, 50, 80. So I'm going to go. I need to add another 20%. 20. There.
That looks good. That's a nice one.
So I'm betting a little bit more. I'm betting heavily on the ETH narrative in terms of the layer 2 narrative, with both OP and Matic being bets on different versions of that narrative.
Nice.
Solana is kind of, you keep hearing about the ETH Solana argument. why not have both?
Solana's pumping right now.
Oh, it's
I don't know if
pumping
you guys
hard
have
right
looked.
now.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
no. It's pumping hard right now.
It's gone up 22% in like no time.
And then Akash and Render are both kind of plays in the DePIN, so decentralized physical infrastructure space. And so both of those are plays on that idea. They're lower market cap, more chances for greater growth. And so they're getting a smaller allocation, but I bet that they could potentially be a big winner for my portfolio. Have we regained Jacki? Okay, we have. I've got too many screens going.
Okay. So, Jacki, do you have changes?
I do. All right. So here's the deal. I want
Oh,
200 on all 5 of these coins. So 200 each.
Okay.
And swap out die. Are you guys ready?
Okay.
Pepe.
Doge. 200 on Doge.
Oh, I almost had Doge.
It's
Oh,
you know
my
it's gonna have a
goodness.
moment, if not a few, in this bull. So if you're smart and you're DCAing, you can perhaps do something with Doge.
I'm just classifying it as meme.
Meme, yep, that's totally
Meme.
appropriate.
All right. So we've got some very interesting. Link is something that I thought about as being in my DePIN and Oracle space, but you guys didn't give me much options because I would have definitely spread mine out differently, or because this is very counter to my general investment strategy.
The graph utility, I think you can list as querying, data query. I'm all about lists. I really like that you included this column, Aussie.
Oh my gosh.
I don't, and I also think you should under Doge. You should call it the Bitcoin killer. That's
There is no way I'm doing that.
You can call it meme, but I would actually call it a social token. But I mean,
It's a
meme is
meme.
fine. It is, but
It is a meme.
social token.
I think
Jacki, I love you so much. It's unbelievable.
it is.
All right.
How do I
going
tell my
to
family I
stop
lost
sharing
all
my
my money on
screen
a
right now
social
because like me.
It's Doge is like, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if when Elon does his final stages of X, if Doge is not the way people are liking and getting rewarded and subscribing and
I love my bag of Doge. I owned the website Bury My Doge With Me for a while.com.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Don't own it anymore. The domain is up. Go get it, people. Bury me with my Doge.com.
We talked about Doge on More Than Blockchain, Jarrett. Like a lot of people don't realize it's a proof of work blockchain. It is, I mean,
it's proof of work.
It's one of the very few. Yeah.
It's got tokens. It's got burn mechanisms. Like it's a full blown ecosystem. What is the other? It has like parallel tokens like Bone and or am I thinking of Shiba Inu? No, that's Doge.
So many people make fun of Doge, and I don't know. I guess it's the excuse the pun, the underdog in me. But like I just like watch out, man. Like
yes.
I think people hate anything that's fun. Like anything that's
oh my God, Jacki.
Jacki, go on. What else do people hate that's fun? Like Six Flags, balloons. What else do they hate?
I don't know. I just think Doge is like, you know what? Sometimes I'm very naive in these conversations because I have not been in certain circles where people are like just the most degen of like disgusting human nature, where Doge probably is also accepted as well because we should all accept each other. But I don't know.
We should.
I'm excited to bring Jacki to the Bitcoin conference. Hey guys, Doge, we have to accept it.
Yeah, man.
That's the only path forward is acceptance. That's where all healing starts.
That's hilarious, man. Wow.
Jacki's already preparing for the next bear market with this talk, you know?
Yeah, God.
This is where all healing starts. When you bought your social token, you leveraged your single family home to buy a social token.
I guess social token makes me think of though like social credit scores, and I don't think Doge is going that way.
No,
maybe that's what
I don't
Doge
mean it in
go.
that way.
It should be the backbone of the Chinese.
How cool are you?
Well, isn't that friends.tech? Isn't that what that is?
It's New Bitcoin City. That's
What?
That's the new one.
Wait, what?
What
Go
is
on,
New
You guys
Austin.
haven't
Bitcoin
heard.
City?
You guys haven't
No.
heard of this? Oh my god.
No.
Am I more in DGen circles than you guys? I guess
Yes.
so.
Yes.
You are the Gen Z. You
unanimous
should
yes.
be DGen.
Yes.
So anyways, you guys hurt
New
me
Bitcoin
sometimes.
City.
Too
Tell us
old.
about.
We're too
Tell us
old.
about-
We're too. Austin's like, God, these people. They're getting hip replacements. They
Wait,
don't know
wait,
about New
this is a-
Bitcoin City.
This is a Gen Alpha thing.
It's what?
What? You said-
So old.
Grant just wants to listen to.
I just want to listen to
AC/DC.
90s rock and be involved in Bitcoin. What's New Bitcoin City and why
Yeah.
does it make me an old head?
I just want to listen to Nirvana, man. Pretty sweet,
Okay, Aussie is having a hard day.
Okay,
apparently.
Aussie. Who lives in Bitcoin City?
No,
Yeah,
New
who's-
Bitcoin
who's
City
the mayor?
is Friend Tech on the Bitcoin blockchain.
God.
Okay.
Really?
And like they've got a huge roadmap with a whole bunch of other stuff on the roadmap, but that is in essence what it is. Someone cashed out $1.5 million on Friend Tech and moved it all to New Bitcoin City. That's like a very recent news story.
So
crazy.
friend.tech or whatever. I mean, it's
Isn't it
it's not a
dead?
fad. It's a phenomenon, right? Like it's
Still going. There's tons of people that are still using Friend Tech and making a bunch of money on Friend Tech.
being
Really?
famous.
I thought it died.
No, it's just not the hype cycle right now. It's still existing, and there's still things going on Friend Tech. It's not the hype cycle right now. It was a hype cycle like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
So, Jackie, what did you mean by social token before we correlated it to credit scores?
I literally like a social media like medium of exchange. Like when you like something, Doge may become the reward, or like it might be actually how we value internet interactions and social media interactions.
Why aren't we just calling it currency?
Okay, so I would call social tokens. There is such thing as social fi, and social fi is things like Friend Tech. There's a whole bunch of other platforms like that have tokens that are social. They're social fi, just like there's science fi. There's a whole bunch of projects that are all about supporting science on the blockchain. Like it could be any kind of science, but they use the blockchain to support it and to share that information. There's a bunch of stuff related to AI now associated on the blockchain. There's AI-Fi in some senses. It's not as big. There's a token that I almost included on my list that was in the AI-Fi space. But I don't know. I wouldn't be putting 10% of a portfolio on it. It is a 1% type play. I'm much more of there's a few 5 to 10%ers in my portfolio, and then a lot of 1 to 2% or even 0.5% to 2% plays that kind of look at different areas of the space. And so this is very against my own investment strategy.
So, Aussie, I'm very interested by this because it sounds like for your own investment strategy, out of 100%, you may be choosing 20 to 30 tokens, coins, projects.
Exactly. Okay, actually, so I should preface this. In current investment strategy, 50% is allocated and split between Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay.
So those are kind of my anchor to my portfolio. And then the remaining 50% is split. I don't have a token that gets more than 5% of my allocation, and an allocation on any token could go as low as 0.5%. With a bunch of tokens, probably about 15% of that portfolio really being located in that 1 to 0.5% area.
Why did you decide on this approach?
2 reasons. exposure to multiple sectors of DeFi / blockchain fi. So DPIN, I talked about DPIN, and I chose two tokens in the DPIN sector. I think the DPIN, I did that because I do think DPIN is probably the bigger winner, and the most likely winner out of these FI areas, just because we are seeing some of it already be adopted. There's a token that I didn't put on here because I do not want anyone copying it, and like it's a high risk. It's a high risk play, but there's also been major adoption behind it already, and so I just don't feel that it's smart to bring it up on air in case someone decides to degen and follow me. And this is a reminder that all of this is not financial advice. And so there's like DPIN, so decentralized physical infrastructure. There's DeFi, which is actually like financial products. So people creating crypto indexes, people that are creating decentralized lending, people that are creating all of that. There's about 5 different areas that I'm kind of looking at. GambleFi is another one that's kind of interesting. AI-Fi, and then social-Fi and science-Fi are kind of other smaller areas that I kind of look at. And I much prefer spreading across that and having at least 2 or 3 picks in each of those areas, because then you can actually, you don't necessarily have to pick the winner, but if you can pick a couple of people within, if one of them does really well, one of them does mediocre, and then the other one goes to 0, you're all right, and it kind of balances that risk.
Well, I mean, VCs, the rule is 20 per portfolio, and so I could see that. Why are you so focused on the finance side? Like, it just dawned on me that like we have GambleFi and DeFi and DependFi or whatever, but like,
Jesus, my God.
People,
if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, or Google, go to YouTube, scrub to minute 37, and just wait for the magic. That's all I'm going to say. Wait for the magic. Wait for Dogecoin.
Wait for the magic.
Yeah.
So my question is this, like, where is just the science, not science-fi? Where is just the gamble, not gamble-fi? What are the projects that are architectural that have nothing to do with finance? Like
graph.
So science-fi is science that is just happening, but they're using the blockchain to do it. It's all about financing scientific projects that are generally they're trying to be goodwill projects, like projects that, a business won't finance because it's not in their business interest, but it's in the global good interest to do this research that, and universities don't have the funding to fund all of these different kinds of research. So science-fi is essentially science. It's just science happening on being financed through the blockchain.
I guess my point is there anything good going on in science and blockchain that doesn't have to do with finance and monetary incentive, but has everything to do with cutting edge science?
Well, it is cutting edge science. That's what they're trying to do. And they're just financing it via the blockchain. That is all that's happening. There's not financial incentives for me to do it. There's a DAO that is, they've got a pool of money and they decide which cutting edge science they fund. That's all that's happening.
I'd like to just chime in here because this is like the reason I put the graph, as it's a project I've been following for a while and done well on here and there, but it's not like a huge project. It doesn't, I don't think it's ever going to be worth $200 or anything like that, but they're actually like helping us query the data from blockchain to do something with it, so people can read it and understand. They're not just on a block explorer, like poking around like, oh, cool. So I think what Aussie's kind of getting at, and I've consulted on a few projects that have done things like this, data is just information. So if we can tokenize it, we can start to look at it to make financial decisions. So it might not necessarily be the finance itself, but it's the triggers and the points and the indicators for finance, because essentially it's just transparent data.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Huh?
Does that make sense? Or
It makes sense. And it's not just Aussie per se. It dawned on me that everything is now a spin on the phrase DeFi, or not everything. Much of the stuff I'm hearing about coming out of crypto and in general always has this phi attached, and I suddenly got curious of, like, things like the graph. That's a real piece of technology. I mean, there's other utilities. We know there's plenty of projects, but we're not categorizing them in the same way. It's not as clean as like a DeFi, an AI fi. Like, those just sound like they're already pre-made categories that everyone's just accepting. But like, I don't hear about. I'm hearing less and less from non-fi projects, and I'm just wondering if that is the crypto world aggregating towards the investment side or the speculative win side, as opposed to just the straight up project. If that makes sense.
So
I think it refers to it just things being tokenized.
Say that again?
I think it's just things being tokenized.
that's
like,
all it is.
Yeah,
I
phi
totally
to
agree.
me is just, it's not, it like, yeah, it's just it's a tokenized version of what's happening.
Yeah.
So why
like,
don't-
Grant?
So why isn't it
it's-
called like token? Why is it called phi? In
I
like,
think
why?
because
It's a
DeFi
nomenclature. It's to kind of it's to use DeFi. So that nomenclature of decentralized finance. It's basically decentralized. It's
Yeah.
blockchain. It's the nomenclature for anything that's being used on the blockchain. Is using phi at the end. That's all it is right now, is that they're using that as the nomenclature for, if it's a social platform on blockchain, it's social phi. That's what it is. That is the category that it fits into. And it doesn't matter. It could literally be tech, and it could be decentralized physical infrastructure. It could be RWA. RWA is probably the only thing that isn't FI'd right now, which is real world assets. That's kind of the only one that I know that hasn't been FI'd. The rest of it's all AI, like AI FI. It's all just means that you could be an AI project that don't operate in the blockchain, so you're AI. But if you are one that's linked to the blockchain in some way, you're AI FI. That's just
I feel
how
like
you're named.
RWA would be like DRWA. You would put the D in the front instead of the phi in the back.
It's like a digital mullet. Grant, I totally get what you're saying, because when we think of DeFi, what does it stand for? It stands for decentralized finance. When we think of TradFi, it's traditional finance. So I agree. I think putting Fi on the end of it is confusing, because it makes it sound like it's another product that's tied to finance. But
Yeah.
what Aussie's saying also makes sense. But I just think that this comes back to the messaging issue that crypto has, that this entire space has, because that's really confusing. If someone's like, comes from quote TradFi, and they're like, oh, you're a TradFi bro, and then they're like, oh, what's AI fi? It must be a way to make money using AI, as opposed to what Aussie's saying, which is like, no, it could just be a way for AI projects to get exposure to be able to raise funding, which I think doesn't make sense.
Well, isn't this ultimately the purpose of tokenization, to make things more affordable for average people, which is financing, right? Like, isn't that like?
But wait, I don't know if it's making it more affordable, making it more accessible. And those are two different things.
Yeah, I would agree.
Those are two different things. Yeah.
Give me a situation where, when we say making a Picasso painting or a house more accessible, does not translate as a euphemism to more
Accessible
affordable.
to who?
Yeah, so Grant, accessible. I couldn't, as an individual person, buy a Picasso painting. I don't run into the right art. I don't run in the right art circles to know an art dealer who has access to Picasso.
But you do run in art circles, is what you're saying.
Ha ha ha. Of course, Jarrett. Of course.
Sure.
Sure,
Whatever. But I also probably don't have enough money to put down to buy a Picasso painting myself. But I want to invest in that art scene. Well, the ability to like blockchain and tokenization allows me to it's more accessible because I don't necessarily need to be the one who knows the art dealer. It is more affordable that in the sense that I can now access it because I'm not the only person taking part in that purchase. It's more accessible and affordable, but I think accessible is the more important part of that.
Yeah, and if I may, like if you think about the idea of a food desert in a major city, like Brooklyn and Queens have major food deserts, and that's not where people can't afford the food or afford fresh produce. They literally just don't have access to it because there are no supermarkets in their 20 to 25 minute walk. So therefore it's a problem of access, not over affordability. But if you had more supermarkets with fresher produce, then people even in the more economically depressed areas of Brooklyn, for example, could have access to it. And I think it's like, and if you think about like an NFT artist, for example, an NFT artist maybe literally cannot pay to have their photos up or to get their photos up in a gallery. So then I guess that's the more the affordability, but they're just trying to get access, right? They can't like what you're saying there as I say it out loud, that's more of an affordability to access. But I think the food situation in a food desert, that's more about accessibility versus affordability.
But you're not tokenizing that, right?
No, but I'm trying to make the idea that access doesn't always chime to affordability. Like water, there's many places around the world that actually people can afford water. They just literally don't have access to it. It has nothing to do with that. And then so bringing it to tokenization, there's got to be a way to do this with the artist. I'm not thinking quick enough on my feet here.
Okay,
but
I was gonna hop in here and say, like, for an artist, they might live in like the middle of nowhere. They could be, but they have access, so they don't have really access to any art galleries or big art dealers around, but they have access to the internet and
to OpenSea
to OpenSea, and they can upload their art and provide basically access an international market that they can't access from their little town somewhere in South America, for example, or in the middle of nowhere, USA, in the Midwest.
I do agree with that being important, access being important. Access is supremely important. But the context of my question was tokenization. And the idea that when does tokenization not mean affordability?
So
I think I need more real world examples of tokenization.
Okay, well, I was going to go with the house. I was going to do our RWA.
Yeah, do it. I mean, you can use Domingo's example.
But 100%.
But that gets back to affordability, not access.
No, so I'm actually
access is tied to affordability there in the way that we're trying to separate it for Grant. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're
saying.
Housing's
not the best example. With the tokenization that we currently have, housing is not the best example. To be fair, anything being bought is probably not the best example.
Yeah, it's so.
Because like access touches upon the idea of like a public good, right? And that's a completely different theory, which is more like it's not a zero sum game type thing. But when we get unfortunately into things with quantity and limited quantity, like housing, it gets really tough.
Well, I mean, let me ask this question at a more macro level. Why is it important that we're using the word access instead of afford? Why is that important?
So, Grant, I'm going to go to the house because I'm just like, I can afford a house. We're talking about how I can buy a house. Mm-hmm. And we've had that conversation several times. But it's much harder because I'm a Canadian to access U.S. real estate, for example. I can't for me to get approval to buy a house in the U.S. would be next to impossible. I would have to talk to a U.S. bank who would have to somehow verify my Canadian credit score, which they probably couldn't. I would have to move to the U.S. and generate a U.S. credit score to get access to products within real estate within the US. So through tokenization, I can get access to that real estate in the US. It doesn't necessarily need to be more affordable. It's going to be the same price, whether I'm buying it myself or I'm buying it through tokenization. But I have now access to that US market that I wouldn't necessarily have access to right now.
That's a good example, Aussie, because I think the thing that you're hitting on there is a permission system versus a permissionless system. And in the permissionless system of tokenization, borders don't matter. Bank accounts don't matter. If I have the cheese and I have the economic value, I can just go buy stuff in other places. Which I think is a good example there, which gets aside. Aussie saying, hey, you know what? I could buy a house in New York, upstate New York, or I could buy a house in Canada. But in the TradFi system, I actually can't. Me as a Canadian citizen, it's hard for me to go get that house in New York. But if it's tokenized and it's going to go between 3 people, now I can leverage my ETH, which I have, to go buy that house. But I will say that I think Grant is right. Most of the time when we talk about access, it's a shiny veneer in Web3. What we're really saying is it's affordable. But I think for me, as like a more of a philosophical outside of Web3, there's a difference between access and affordability. But within Web3, I do agree with Grant and Aussie. I think it's a really good example of the tokenization of real estate across national borders or something. But otherwise, Grant, I think you're spot on. I think when we do say access in Web3, we're really saying affordability. We just don't want to touch upon money.
I'll throw another example. The mining project that I'm getting involved with. I'm getting access to that project in Paraguay, and I can afford to buy a couple of miners myself, which is essentially what my share is buying me. But I don't have access to that power rate. So I'm buying access to the rate of power that they're using. I'm getting access to their expertise. I'm buying access to the geographic kind of like basically geolocation, using the cheaper labor in Paraguay. I'm getting access to multiple things that, because of, like, even to get access to a big mining pool, I would need permission to invest in a mining company that is, on the stock market. To actually be able to become like a shareholder in that company, I would need permission most of the time. I would need to be a big enough cheese to get access to it. Even if I met all the even if I had enough qualifications, even if I was a qualified investor, I would still need to find someone that's got one of those companies that's willing to take on more funding, yada, 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 like a million other things to kind of like to ensure that. Whereas with
I guess
tokenization, I don't need permission.
I don't need permission. So tokenization is about getting around permission, because literally every example you just gave, in the back of my mind, the devil's advocate in my mind thinks, if I had enough cash, I would just go do it. Buying real estate in America, we're talking about a money issue. It's not a permission issue. There's a certain dollar figure, and there's hoops you got to jump through. Yes, a certain dollar figure. And mining in Paraguay, I could buy this, but I was buying their advice and I was buying their time, and I got that with a token. So with enough money. And the real question probably that should be thrown back to me, Grant, why does it matter? And I guess, like, why does it matter if we call it accessible versus affordable? And I guess what I'm trying to get at is these are not social good things, and they're not social bad things. Like, Jarrett, you were saying outside of Web3, when we talk about accessibility, there is a virtue signal, which I do believe in, of giving people at least a chance, right? But nearly every example we're talking about now are like, not everyone deserves or needs a chance to buy real estate or Bitcoin miners in another country per se. So why does it matter? I think I want more and more sanity in the linguistics, the messaging of crypto, so that I can, I guess, categorize it much more quickly, I guess, is kind of what I'm thinking of. So the example of like cross-border real estate purchasing, it's like, yeah, but it's fractional. You're not actually buying that real estate.
Well, I could buy, like, if I had the money, I could buy the 20% down. like in this scenario, I could put the 20% down to buy that piece of real estate in New York. I could
So
do
in this
that.
case, in this case, the tokenization abstracts the property outside of U.S. government rules, and you could still put 20% down and be the effective holder of this property, but on a meta layer of international law. And so tokenization, you know what it sounds like? The way you just described it, it sounds like the teleporter beam in Star Trek. It basically took something, a piece of real estate in the United States, and fractionalized it to its smallest atoms and transmitted it to some meta layer outside of the system and then reassembled it. And then you just bought it for 20%. And now you have access because tokenization made these units small enough or something like that. I'm trying to get my head around everything is tokenized, everything is DeFi'd, everything is this and everything is that. And I'm just trying to get my head around. Now it's not with you guys necessarily, but in general, I'm diving into crypto Twitter and I'm diving into the Reddit boards as I study for the show. And it's starting to feel more and more like word salad and less meaning, if that makes any sense. And that's really where I'm sitting, like just asking these questions. I want to know the meaning of the thing we're saying so I know how to handle it, if that makes sense.
Do you think people that were like riding in horse and buggies like could really understand the meaning of an automobile and our entire industrial like revolution happening and having everything rely off of oil? Like, I just don't know that we can see it right now, but we're doing the best we can with the language we have.
Yes, I agree. And I think that at every juncture we can challenge it safely, we should, so that we can then level up that language. And that's that's the opportunity I'm presenting is there something else we can call it that makes more sense?
I don't necessarily think there is because access or affordability, it's right now you could use them interchangeably, but I think the word access, being able to access different things, is more important. Also, I think if you think about Akash, which is one of the tokens that I use, they're all about decentralized data centers and data infrastructure and compute power. And so if I did want to have access to compute in 6 places, but I don't need the size of the smallest AWS server that you can get access to, this actually allows me access to compute power in 4 or 5 different countries, or however many different countries, at a size that I actually need it at.
At a size you need it at. So yeah, well, and that's one thing is it's not necessarily affordability. You can afford a miner, but could you get better hash rate if you had a fraction of a larger mining facility? And so you just get better arbitrage, which is a financial incentive, but not because you're a brokey, but because you just deserve access necessarily. That's interesting. That's a good example. I like that.
Yeah, so like it doesn't necessarily, and some of the people that I know that are in DeFi, decentralized finance, are not brokies. There is one guy that runs in that I share circles with, who owns at least 2 yachts that are worth several $1 million. Like he owns real estate on both sides of the Atlantic, and not cheap real estate on either side of the Atlantic. At that, he owns quite a bit of this, but he doesn't necessarily have access to all of the perfect contacts in his IRL world to necessarily get early access or the right access to these different opportunities that are out there. You have to sometimes just know the right person to get access to Google or Tesla or something early. And
I think it helps if people really see money as an asset in and of itself. So, I mean, the same way an automobile or a house or anything else you can think of, there's an entire industry around it. So, Aussie, I think the people you're even pointing to, I mean, some of the degens are absolutely white collar professionals who are just excited to figure out new problems and try to see new ways of doing old things. So I think it's along the spectrum. And I think it's actually, and to your point, Grant, it's healthier for all of us to have these conversations now. I mean, it's a unique moment in time. I say this a lot, but I mean, we're living through a very interesting shift in how we do business. And at the end of the day, I mean, DLT and blockchain, it's technological infrastructure for how things are going to run. So, I mean,
Yeah, that would be interesting. I need to explore that a bit more. So, like, we're at the top of the hour, guys. Like, and we kind of derailed into some heady shit. What is next for our tracking? Like, how is that going to happen going forward?
We'll be able to open the show every week with, this is the percentage that this is how many tokens we started off with. This was the initial value at $1,000. And we'll be able to run through everyone's spreadsheet and see how much, what everyone's portfolio is worth.
Is there a way to get that in a dashboard so it's one page and we can make it view only so we can put it up on the website so people can look at it? Because having to go to like 5 different Google Sheets is going to 5 different Google
It's a pain
Sheets.
in the butt. Absolutely. I was trying to figure out if I could put it onto one Google Sheet in the first place, and I couldn't. But I'm going to see if I can find a way to get it all together in one spreadsheet, just like how on Google and on Excel you can reference another spreadsheet. I'm going to see if I can do that.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I can just post it on the site. That'll be interesting to track. Cool. All right. And predictions, like how confident you guys are in your picks. Be real.
I mean, I think my portfolio in 2 years is going to 10x easy. I mean,
I would say I'm likely to see it 10 to 15x on that portfolio. I'm less confident on my 2 lower picks. I do think that like my 3 higher picks will definitely do well, but I mean there's a reason I hedged my bets on DPIN, but there's a very good chance that other parts of my portfolio will end up doing a lot better.
Jackie?
Sometimes in these conversations, I feel like Ralphie from The Simpsons. I'm just like, I'm going to learn a lot. like I have no idea whether this will 10 or 15x, but like I'm super excited to follow these specific projects on their journeys.
That's hilarious. I'm having a little bit of regret because I thought Bitcoin and Ethereum were assumed for everyone. And then I'm thinking about Jarrett's portfolio and he had like 2 out of 5 were Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I was like, wait, what?
Wait, oh, I must have.
No. Jarrett's
I only had Bitcoin.
30% Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't think Ethereum.
You put Bitcoin and Ethereum in your portfolio, Jarrett?
He put
No.
Bitcoin.
I just said Bitcoin.
Oh yeah,
I had to have
thought we
30%
weren't-
Bitcoin for sure.
I thought we weren't. I'm sorry, I missed that point. I thought we were leaving Bitcoin and Ethereum out.
I agree.
Our-
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That was it too. I was like, I didn't put Ethereum specifically because I thought we were not including.
I thought that was like understood that those. That
No, I didn't understand that at all. I just think it would be cool I just wanted the controls just so we could see what it would have been if you put all Bitcoin, all Ethereum, or a split. But no, I didn't. No.
Oh.
Okay. Well, okay.
We can go
so
back
then,
and change it. We should do that today.
well, we'll go back and do it today, and we'll inform everybody in the next episode how we've modified, if we have. But
I don't think it would be difficult. I'm going to give Aussie more work, but maybe to just have a happy, like whatever on all of this. I don't think it would be difficult to have rows of like Bitcoin 190, 80, 70, 60, 50, and then Ethereum 100, in a mix.
Look at Aussie's face. He's like, yeah, Jackie, it's not
what?
hard when you're not doing it.
No, it's just you just pull the box down.
But
I know,
what do you
I
mean
know,
190, 80? What?
Like Jarrett said, his portfolio was 30% Bitcoin, I think you said.
Yeah.
Can't we make the controls for BTC and ETH like each percentage? Because I mean, it's just a formula of that percentage of the API you guys are calling.
Yeah. From today's timestamp. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I
I
mean,
can do that from
So it
today's
could be for
timestamp.
anybody, anybody and that might be even interesting for us to see, like if I had done a 20% portfolio versus 60% portfolio.
Yeah, just
that way
move
we're
the
just
levers
tracking
and-
it. I mean, if it's too hard, I mean, this is a,
No. That might work. That might work. But save for another episode. For another episode, when we all had a good night's sleep. I think everyone needs a good night's sleep. Jarrett needs to finish his laundry. Jacki needs to find her belief in the round earth, and we will.
Jacki refuses to find any beliefs whatsoever. Beliefs behind me.
You guys, thanks for sticking it out with us. If you got this far in the episode, my shout out is to your ass. Anybody else? Any other shout outs to anybody else today?
I have a great shout out.
That was a great show. Oh,
yeah, actually, Grant, on one of your recent social medias, I saw you were reading the book Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and I started listening to it, and it is amazing. One, Matthew McConaughey is narrating it himself, and two, there's a lot of gems in it. It's great.
There is a lot of gems, and then a lot of wild ass stories. And you're like, who's this guy?
It's very entertaining to listen to and get like life tidbits as well.
It's wild. Okay, shout out to me or McConaughey?
Both.
Yeah, both.
All of the above.
all three of you.
Shout out to Green Lights.
Shout out to Green Lights, and a shout out to Aussie's banker today. And and with that, check us next Wednesday at 4:00. Is that what's happening? I think that's what's happening.
What? No, aren't we? Isn't this our?
Are we off for a couple weeks now?
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought we were taking the rest of November.
Is this
off.
our gap?
No, we're doing next Wednesday, and then we're taking a gap.
That's what I thought. Thanks for giving. We're going to cut this out of the episode. So next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Who knows what's going on?